Right now, somewhere in your life, there's a message you're afraid to send. Maybe it's a text. Maybe it's an opinion in a meeting. Maybe it's just raising your hand. Your heart speeds up. Your stomach tightens. You rehearse the words a dozen times before you say them out loud. But the real answer for why you feel this way is far stranger than you're just shy or you just care too much. Your brain thinks rejection can kill you, not metaphorically, literally. To understand why, you have to go back. Not a few years, not a few decades, tens of thousands of years, to a time before hospitals, before supermarkets, before locks on doors. Back then, you were never alone. You lived in a small group, maybe 30 people, maybe 50. That group was everything. It found your food. It warned you of predators. It kept you warm at night. If that group cast you out, you didn't just feel sad. You died. Slowly, from exposure, or hunger, or a lion in the dark that no one was there to see coming. Your ancestors who felt nothing when the group turned on them, who shrugged and wandered off alone, they didn't survive long enough to pass on their calm. The ones who survived were the ones who felt rejection like a 5-alarm fire. Instant. Consuming. Impossible to ignore. That feeling saved their lives, and it got baked into you. In 2003, a psychologist named Naomi Eisenberger ran an experiment that changed how scientists understood pain. She put people into brain scanners and had them play a simple video game, tossing a virtual ball back and forth with 2 other players online. Then, without warning, the other players stopped passing the ball. No explanation, just silence. Here's the strange part. The brain scans lit up in the exact same regions that activate when you stub your toe or burn your hand, the anterior cingulate cortex. The part of your brain that processes physical pain, being excluded from a ball-tossing game with strangers you'd never meet, activated the same circuitry as a physical injury. Your brain doesn't have a separate system for social pain and physical pain. It uses the same alarm. Think about that for a second. When someone doesn't text you back, when you're left out of a group chat, when your idea gets ignored in a meeting, your brain isn't being dramatic. It's running an ancient survival program that once meant the difference between living through winter and freezing alone in the snow. That's why rejection doesn't just feel bad, it feels dangerous. There's a reason we say things like, "that comment stung," or "I was crushed," or "it hurt to hear that." We're not being poetic. We're describing something biologically real. Evolutionary psychologists have a name for this: social pain theory. The idea that pain evolved first as a signal for physical threats to the body, and later got repurposed by evolution to signal threats to your social bonds. Same wiring. New job. But here's where it gets counterintuitive. If rejection triggers pain circuits, shouldn't the people most sensitive to it be the weakest? The ones who couldn't handle life? The opposite turned out to be true. Researcher Kipling Williams spent decades studying a phenomenon called ostracism, the act of being ignored or excluded. He found that even brief, meaningless exclusion, being ignored for a few minutes by strangers in a lab, triggered immediate drops in mood, self-esteem, and even a person's sense that life had meaning. The people who felt this most intensely weren't fragile. They were the ones whose ancestors had survived by taking social threats seriously. Sensitivity to rejection wasn't a flaw. It was a feature, tuned by millions of years of small groups where belonging equaled survival. Now here's the twist your brain hasn't caught up to. You are, statistically, safer from social exclusion than any human who has ever lived. If a stranger online disagrees with you, you will not die of exposure tonight. If your idea gets rejected in a meeting, no lion is waiting outside your door. If someone doesn't reply to your message, your food supply is not in danger. Your circumstances changed completely. Your alarm system did not. You are walking around with a smoke detector built for a world of predators and starvation, going off every time somebody leaves you on read. This mismatch explains so much of modern anxiety. Why a single negative comment can outweigh 100 positive ones in your mind. Why public speaking ranks as one of the most feared experiences for people who will never actually be attacked for speaking. Why so many of us would rather stay quiet than risk being wrong in front of others. Your brain isn't broken. It's just running outdated software on new hardware. Understanding this doesn't make the feeling disappear, but it changes what you do with it. When your chest tightens before you hit send, that's not proof that something is actually wrong. It's an alarm built for a world that no longer exists, firing anyway. Psychologists who study this now suggest something simple. Naming the feeling for what it is. Not "I am in danger," but my ancient alarm system is going off, and I am, in fact, safe. That single reframe, according to research on emotional regulation, can lower the intensity of the response almost immediately. You're not silencing 30,000 years of evolution. You're just finally letting your modern mind catch up to it. So tonight, when you feel that familiar tightening before you speak up, before you send the message, before you raise your hand, remember what it actually is. It's not weakness, it's not oversensitivity, it's the oldest alarm system you own, still trying to keep a version of you alive that stopped existing a very long time ago. And the next time it goes off, you get to be the one who decides whether to listen.